everyone. Hope you are having a great day and had a great Easter break. I hope you are all doing well, staying safe, staying home, and I hope that you are finding some fun things to do while at home. Okay, so everyone, today we're going to be talking about Chapter 11, okay? Chapter 11, Worldviews in Conflict, okay? So if you remember back to Chapter 10, we had talked about how the Spanish had just defeated the Aztecs. So Chapter 11 basically shows what happens after the Spanish have conquered the Aztecs, okay? So everyone, I'm just going to present my screen and we're going to look at the intro story. We're going to look at the first section of Chapter 11. And okay, so here we are. So basically the big question for this unit is how does cultural contact between two societies affect their identity and worldview? So in other words, how does the interaction between the Spanish and the Aztecs, how does it affect the worldview of the Aztecs, okay? So here's just a little story for you guys. So today in Mexico City, the site where Tenochtitlan once stood is one of the largest and busiest cities in the world. I'm really excited because next week we're going to do a little bit of research on modern day Mexico City. We're going to take a look at Google Earth, look at the fun features of that program. I'm super excited about next week. So imagine you are visiting the bustling center of Mexico City with a Spanish-speaking friend. You have visited many excavated Aztec ruins, but all day you have not seen a single monument honoring the conquistador Hernan Cortez. Then late in the day, you come to a small square with a grassy area kept neat and clean. There, something catches your eye, a metal plaque, a historical marker set into a stone wall. You ask your friend to tell you what the writing on the plaque says. The place where slavery began, she reads, here the emperor was made prisoner in the afternoon of August 13th, 1521. You realize you're standing on the very spot where, 500 years ago, Cortez's men captured the last Aztec emperor, Moctezuma. You've discovered one of the few monuments in the city referring to the defeat of the Aztec Empire by the Spanish. So everyone, in this chapter, most wars involve more than a physical struggle. Wars are often clashes in which one ideology or set of values challenges another. So what happens once a war is over? Do the winners always make the losers give up their traditions and beliefs? Or do both sides adopt parts of one another's worldview? What happened in Mexico after the conflict between the Aztecs and the Spanish? And so that's exactly what we're going to be exploring in this chapter. Okay, so everyone, okay. So, worldviews in conflict. So, key question, how does intercultural contact between two societies affect their identity and worldview? So, everyone, from what perspective is the text on the historical marker written? So, it looks like it's written from the Spanish perspective, okay? So, it talks about the defeat of the Spanish over the Aztecs, or the kidnapping of Moctezuma. And so it does almost suggest, though, that there are elements of both societies that are still present in Mexico's society today, okay? And so when we explore Mexico next week, we're going to see that. We're going to see how there's still elements of Aztec society and still elements of Spanish society that are evident in Mexico's society today. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So everyone, changes in worldview. So basically, throughout these 2 units so far, we've been taking a look at isolation, so a culture that stands on its own, and then it interacts with another culture, and then the change. So in this unit, we talked about the Aztecs. They were their own little society. Then they interacted with the Spanish, and now we're going to talk about what changes happened after this interaction occurred. So how do you think being conquered by the Spanish affected the worldview of the remaining Aztecs? So this is what we're going to look at in the little assignment that you're working on this week. And what changes specifically occurred to the structure of their society, their religion, and economic system. And so In the first part of your assignment, which I'll look at in a little bit, you're going to revisit what were the elements of Aztec society, religion, and economic system before they were conquered by the Spanish, and then what does it look like after. So that's exactly what you're doing in your assignment. So after the fall, changing Aztec worldview. During the siege, Aztec priests told them to pray. Still, they lost their empire. Many felt abandoned by the gods. So if you remember, Aztecs, they believed in many different gods. They believed that they had to commit human sacrifice to keep their gods alive. They believed that their gods would bless them if they did all of these right things. And so after they were conquered by the Spanish, they probably felt that their gods had let them down. And so, at the same time, Cortez had organized Catholic missionaries from the Franciscan order to come to Mexico City, formerly Tenochtitlan. They worked on converting the Aztec people, focusing on educating children. Remember that one of the main reasons why Cortez and other Spanish conquistadors went on these expeditions was to convert people to the people that they encountered to Christianity. So, of course, this would have been one of their primary objectives. So, this is really not surprising based on what we know about the Spanish worldview. So the Franciscans had also had all of the Aztec temples demolished. They believed if they destroyed all aspects of Aztec religion, then the Aztecs would be easier to convert. This is also seen in this source here. So you can see the Franciscans and other missionaries, they gradually converted many of the surviving Aztecs to the Catholic faith. During this time, they destroyed the Aztec temples, burned all the Aztec codices. So Bernardino Sehiguin, a Franciscan priest, describes some of the actions. So we took the children of the Siquites, Aztec chiefs, into our schools where we taught them to read, write, and to chant. The children of the poor natives were brought together in the courtyard and instructed there in Christian faith. After our teaching, one or two brethren took the pupils to some neighboring temple, and by working at it for a few days, they leveled it to the ground. In this way, they demolished in a short time all the Aztec temples, great and small, so that not a vestige or trace of them remained. And so, why were these actions necessary? These actions were necessary so they could take away the former belief system so that it would make them easier to convert to Catholicism. And so, also, how might the destruction of their temples have affected their sense of identity for the Aztecs? They would have probably been very confused about what they should do now because it was such a big part of their belief system. They would have been wondering, like, what do I do now? What is this like? It would have been very hard, I feel like, for them to convert to one belief system to one that was pretty different from what they were used to. So the encomienda, the new economic system, the Aztecs were also forced to become part of an entirely different economic system. Their system of trade or collecting tribute created bonds with other indigenous groups was now abolished. So their former system of trade and collecting tribute was gone. So the Spanish created the encomienda system in Mexico, which was already established in other Spanish colonies. So basically, each of the Spanish settlers or Spanish conquistadors were assigned a piece of land. And so with each piece of land, the settlers were allotted a number of Aztec workers. Although the Spanish didn't pay these workers, they were supposed to treat them well and educate them in the Christian religion. However, many landowners abused their workers. The Spanish crown had laws to prevent this from happening, but the settlers in Mexico were so far away that it did little in stopping them. Because of course you remember that they probably didn't get a chance to design a system of courts quite yet. And so even though the laws were there, it would have been really hard to enforce them from Spain. Excuse me. So everyone, here you can see the system. So we have the Aztec people at the bottom. They're the Aztec workers or Aztec slaves. They do all the actual work on the farms and in the mines in return for little more than basic necessities, food, clothing, and shelter. The Spanish conquistadors and settlers, they were given encomiendas, so pieces of land with Aztec workers, and they had to pay taxes to the governor or the viceroy, and they were able to keep remaining profits. So the governor or the viceroy, representative of the Spanish crown, collected taxes that supports himself, the colonial government, and the Spanish crown. And then the Spanish crown took the king's fifth, 20% of all gold and other valuables found in New Spain. But I feel like the Spanish crown ended up taking a little bit more than that because at some point you'll see in the new colony, at some point they ended up having financial issues. and they had to develop other systems of getting money and resources because they'd sent so much of the money and gold and everything back to the Spanish crown. So this figure is pretty important. It's on page 242 in the textbook, okay? So everyone, that's great. So we're going to talk about today. So here is the assignment. So everyone, you're going to be exploring the changes in worldviews, so comparing, contrasting the Aztec society before and after the Spanish colonization. So for the first 3 slides, you're going to be looking at the Aztec worldview before Spanish colonization, okay? Make sure that you're including a minimum of 5 ideas per slide. Please use relevant diagrams, images, your ideas, review the elements of the Aztec worldview. You can refer back to the chapter 7-8 notes. So the chapter 7-8 notes, I posted them here on Classroom right here, so you can go back and review them if you are forgetting. And so you just need to do these 3. So the beliefs, society, and the economy. Make sure you have 5 ideas and maybe a picture of something that represents these elements of the Aztec worldview. And of course, this is before the Spanish came, okay? So the first 3 is before the Spanish came. And then the last 3 is after the Spanish colonization, okay? So we looked at the beliefs. We know that they're mainly Catholic, so talk about that. And the Franciscan priests, so the stuff we talked about today. On page 239, and then the society, we're going to talk about that next time, and then the economy, so we talked about the encomienda system on page 242. Okay, so this is of course from chapter 11. This is what the Spanish colony looks like after the Spanish take over the Aztecs. Okay, so, and then your rubrics. So the content demonstrates understanding of how Aztec Spanish worldviews are affected by intercultural contact. Historical thinking demonstrates skills of historical thinking, able to compare, contrast changes that occur over time, and communicate your information in engaging, clear and engaging manner, okay? 5 marks, so for a total of 25 marks. So everyone, there we go. Thank you everyone for your time today. Look forward to talking about the other section of this chapter with you next time. We'll see you later. Okay, bye.